I've been waiting a while to see this one again. Eraserhead. Yeah, I just got this from Amazon on Blu-ray. David Lynch's Eraserhead. Eraserhead is a movie from 1977. Same year as Star Wars, by the way. Not quite the same as Star Wars, but there is a Star Wars connection, and I'll explain that later, if I remember. It's shot entirely in black and white. It is a very artsy film. Doesn't have a very clear narrative at all. What's it about? Open for interpretation, apparently. What I can tell you is what you will see on screen is a guy named Henry, this guy right here, and his life. Basically, his life is messed up, and he lives in a messed up dystopian future, past. I don't know. It's some kind of universe where everything sucks and is depressing and dirty and claustrophobic and at the same time empty and lonely. Very atmospheric. I can definitely give it that. But yeah, it's about this guy and his regular life. He finds out that his girlfriend is pregnant and that there's a baby. And the baby is deformed. And he has to take care of the baby and deal with his wife as well. Everybody in this movie is insane. And every line just feels so weird, but that it carries like so much weight to it. Like, everything is wrong with this movie, if you ask me, in terms of like being like a normal movie. I mean, it's not that there's anything wrong with it, because I love this movie, but I don't really think of it as a movie. Eraserhead is like a bad dream, really, or more like an experience. And I think I had to really gear myself up to watch this again, because it's a little bit disturbing. There's a kind of haunting images in there, and some really, really clever like camera work and lighting and sound design. It's an experience, man. Yeah, it's one of those movies, the cult classic, of course. Probably better enjoyed if you're kind of in an alternative frame of mind, I guess you could say. You're not going to have everything spelled out for you and everything make a whole lot of sense. You got to make your own sense of this movie, and I love that about it. But it deals with issues of things like fear, anxiety, fear of parenthood, kind of like isolation, kind of also claustrophobic, being an outsider, kind of confusion. It's just fucking weird, man. There's a lot of notable scenes in here, and I don't want to describe them to you too much, because I think it's best that you experience these things yourself. But yeah, there's some weird shit in here, man. There's obvious like sex references and things like that. Aforementioned baby is horrifying to look at and makes the most horrible sounds. And I don't know how they made this puppet. It's a very closely guarded secret. Yeah, it's some kind of puppet. There's a decent amount of gore in here too, like, but it for some reason seems even gorier because it's in black and white. It's just light and dark, and the shapes and shadows and contrasts of things. And there's some really absurd things that happen in here. A lot of the characters do and say things that kind of make no sense, and that's a David Lynch thing, kind of. Speaking of David Lynch, of course, you know, he was the producer of Twin Peaks, also directed stuff like Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, The Elephant Man, which won Academy Awards. He got the job from Mel Brooks, who saw Eraserhead and decided this is the guy that I want to make The Elephant Man. Whatever, I haven't seen that movie in a very, very long time, and I'll have to watch it again to give you a report on that. But I do remember it being quite different than this, because this, Eraserhead, oh boy, Henry's girlfriend, Her name is Mary, and her parents invite Henry over for dinner in the very beginning of the movie. Weirdest dinner scene you will ever see on film. The bleeding chickens and the crazy dad talking about his knees, and yeah, it's a trip, man. Also, across the hall from Henry's apartment, there lives a very attractive woman who at one point seduces Henry, and that's a pretty weird scene too. She's not really a major character, but I don't know if she's actually supposed to be real or not. Like, that's the whole thing about this whole movie is this a dream? Or is this actually happening? Well, some of it is clearly and obviously a dream. But where does the line get drawn? Because everything's freaking weird here. But if you like to think and feel while you watch a movie, this is a movie for you. It's hard to compare this movie to any other movie that's out there, other than, I guess, maybe other David Lynch movies. There are really no movies that I've seen that are anything like this movie. It's dark and depressing, and it's artsy, and it makes me feel like I've been through something after I watch it till the end. Not sure if it's a tragedy, or an absurd comedy, or a gory horror movie. It's all those things. All of that adds up, and it's something, alright. Apparently this movie took something like 5 years to make. David Lynch went through the American Film Institute, and he was given a certain amount of funding, but he had to actually raise money to finish the movie, and did it over the course of his lifetime. He was a new father when he first started this, and also he went through a divorce by the time it was done. And David Lynch, he's an interesting cat, that guy. He's weird as fuck, but I don't know, we're still watching him. Now, I mentioned that this movie came out in 1977. Well, curiously enough, by the time 1982-83 rolled around, George Lucas was impressed enough by David Lynch's work, probably more in The Elephant Man than on this, but he was impressed enough with it to want to hire him to direct Return of the Jedi. And there's kind of like a little story that goes along with it, and David Lynch refused. He didn't want to do it. It wasn't his thing. But curiously enough, he came back later to do Dune, and look how that turned out. Actually, I like Dune. I would actually call Eraserhead one of my favorite movies that I have ever seen in my life. So I guess that means I can't give it anything other than an A+. I don't recommend this for everybody, because there's going to be a lot of people out there that watch it and just think it's absolute garbage. And you wouldn't be wrong, because maybe for you it is garbage. But to me, this really makes me think, and it makes me feel stuff, you know. I can get out of this movie what I want. If all you're going to get out of it is just crazy fucked up images and just go, oh, that's fucked up, we might still enjoy it. But if you don't enjoy stuff like that, you're not going to like this movie at all. But yeah, it's fucked up for the sake of being fucked up, but I think because it's so fucked up, I gave it an A+. Anyway, I'm sure my next movie's not going to be anywhere near as weird as this one. Well, it might be as weird, but not as good weird. You know what I mean? Like, this is A+ weird. So until such time, have a good one out there, everybody.